KMG presents Biography of a Comedian, the Bob Smiley Story. Bob Smiley had your average childhood start. He had all the dreams and aspirations that a young boy has, looking to make his mark in the world. Like most kids, Bob constantly struggled with what to be when he grew up. Maybe a famous sports hero. He tried his hand at baseball, football, track. But only two things stood in his way: ability and coordination. Struggling to find himself, his life drastically changed when in the 6th grade, he and his family moved to the small town of Erie, Texas.
Bob Smiley. It was a great year, 6th grade.
I remember that little Bobby.
It's Bob now. It was Robert back then, but Bob was a guy. He was a guy's guy.
Yeah, when I moved to Erie, it was pretty much of a huge change.
But Bob, mean kickball player.
I started out living in Weatherford, which was a huge town, you know, and then I moved to Erie. It was real small. They only had 280 people.
Why, he would come out here to the nursing home.
So I went from a town that had like a mall on every street corner to a town whose idea of a large industrial company was a 300-pound Avon lady.
I remember this turtle imitation he used to do.
And man, when he would kick it, everybody laughed.
He'd lift up his shoulders and tuck his head in, and then he'd poke it out.
He fit in so well because the town was so laid back and slow and simple, just like Bob was.
We were on a lot of medication in those days.
Besides entertaining people at retirement centers, Bob continued his love of education.
Bob was in my class. I was his choir teacher.
School. I talked a lot about school.
Not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer, if you know what I mean.
I liked school. I did. I liked learning, but well, I had some problems.
These were the days before Prozac, you understand.
You know what gave me the biggest problem was the rules to school. I didn't get them. It wasn't that I didn't follow them, but some of them don't make sense. Some of them are silly. In the event of a fire, walk single file. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's form a human wick. That's real smart.
Bob used to always cut up and laugh and make jokes in class, and I told him that he was never going to make it if all he did was tell jokes.
Our school didn't have air conditioning in it, so the rule was last person out of the room had to shut all the windows. So if there ever was a fire, we're all sitting outside watching the building burn, watching one kid frantically try to close the windows.
He had a nice brother, though. Did like his brother.
I've got one brother, yeah, he's 2 years younger, and I know most people always fight with their brothers, but we have always been close. People always ask me, what was it like to grow up with him? Well, you know what he was like when he was young. He was funny, he was muscular, women loved him. I mean, we are the best of friends. All growing up, we hung out all the time. He loved me. He had the big brother syndrome. And, the thing that bothers me about you guys and everybody with the big cameras and everything, they always want to know about Bob. Nobody ever asks about me. What about me? He thought the world of me. Still does. I could have been funny. You know why nobody knows I'm funny? Because I didn't get a chance to talk when I was a kid. It was always him and my dad. You've heard this CD. It was always them. Nah. He's great. I love my brother. He's actually in the entertainment business also. He's a mime. Nobody ever asks about me. I'm a mime. I have art form. So he stands on the stage in front of 1,000 people ministering. I'm on the street corner, This takes art, baby. That's not easy. You want to ask about me? Do you have any questions on the sheet there about me? Nothing. Nobody cares.
You're watching Biography on KMG.
I first met Bob back in 1996.
I heard that Clay was going out on the Time to Believe tour, and it was the first time that he was going to headline, and I'd seen his merchandise before.
I had heard about him through my road manager.
And I knew right away I could help this guy, and so that's what I did. I went out and I did his merchandise, and I said, Clay, that's not enough. You need to let me get on stage and let me really pitch this stuff.
And since he's a comedian, I thought, and at intermission, he can come out and do some of his comedy and remind people of the product that's out there, and it'll be great.
I would wear all the T-shirts out there, and I would show everybody and do jokes about the shirts, and it was great.
It kind of got to the point where it was not really the Clay Crosse tour, but the Bob Smiley tour. I mean, he kind of took over, and there were nights where I didn't even hit the stage, and the crowd didn't even care.
You're watching Biography on KMG.
I'm a C.P.A, and we're not known for our sense of humor, but I bet I laughed twice during Bob's show. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of a joke he told now.
We were excited to meet Bob whenever we had the opportunity to just to meet him.
I guess if you had to pick one moment that really changed the Supertones history, it would have to be when I pulled him aside.
He almost gathered us up like a shepherd. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, he was real calm, and we were all ears, and
told them, you know, I said, guys, you need to change your name. You know, the tones just isn't cutting it. It doesn't look good on a T-shirt. And I was like, Supertones, that's a T-shirt. That looks good on a T-shirt. It helped.
And at that moment, I mean, it was like magic. It was pretty crazy. You know, sparks were flying. And at the time, we were playing polka music, which wasn't going over real well with the kids.
Thinking back on what they are now, it's a wonder. It's amazing. I mean, I guess I felt the calling to take them aside and tell them.
He said, guys, you need to add some horns. You need to play some upbeat music for the kids, and this will really help your ministry. And ever since then, I mean, it's been thanks to Bob Smiley. I mean, that guy is right on.
The road has been a long one for Bob, but success has been worth all the failures. This small-town boy from Erie, Texas, has finally hit it big time.
It was not too long ago. A bunch of friends invited me to this concert. I'd been pretty low. Things were looking kind of bleak.
I've been his driver for the last couple of years. It's been real hard pulling into these venues and just having people just all over the bus slapping it and wanting to get in and wanting an autograph.
I'm a big fan of Bob Smiley's. I got his autograph and I took down all my Hanson posters.
Well, we walked in with Bob and automatically people were flocking to him. I mean, it was crazy.
Figured out what the heck, you know, comedy show. I'd been hearing a lot about this guy.
People were here to see
I was wearing this shirt. This shirt was ripped off my body just because I was standing with Bob. I got it back.
But he came out and started telling some jokes, and I started chuckling a little bit. And
my wife sewed the buttons back on, but
next thing I knew, man, we were just roaring in the aisles. Literally changed my life that night.